Paramahamsa Parilajacharya Ashtadada Satta Shri Srima His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON Founder Acharya His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jayam Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parilajacharya Ashtadada Satta Shri Srima His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananda Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Sakha Ho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasade Gaura Bhakta Vinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Go Gopinam Shama Kum Radha Kum Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Shri Mayapur Dham Ki Jai Shri Jagnapuri Dham Ki Jai Gangamai Chamunamai Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Tulsi Devi Ki Jai Samaveda Bhakta Vinda Ki Jai Transcendental Book Distribution Ki Jai Transcendental Prasana Distribution Ki Jai Hare Rama Sankirtan Ki Jai ISKCON Yutva Gadam Ki Jai Nitai Gaura Pramanandi Hari 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 Bo All glories to the Sambodhi Hare Krishna All glories to the Sambodhi Hare Krishna All glories to the Sambodhi Hare Krishna All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayana Namaskrityam Naranchaiva Narottamam Devin Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Uditayet Nasta Prayeshu Avadreshu Nityam Bhagavatam Sevaya Bhagavati Utamashloke Bhakti Bhavati Naishtiki. So reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, second canto, chapter 7, text number 34 and 33. So we will chant text number 34 together, and I will just chant text number 35 myself. What's that? 34, 35, yes. Sorry, yeah, 34, 35. And we will chant 34, verse 34 together, and I will just chant verse number 35. Ye cha pralamba kara darura keshi arishta mareba kamsa yavana kapi pontra kadya anye cha shauva kuja bauvala dantavakra saptoksha shambara vidurata dukni mukhyaha yecha pranampa kaladatu rakesharishta mare pakamsa yavana kapi pontrakadya anye chashauva kuja bauva ladantavakra saptoksha sambara vidura tarukmi mukyaha yecha pranampa karadadu rakesharishta mare pakamsa yavana kapi pontrakadya Anye Chashava Kujabhava Ladantavakra Saptosha Sambara Vidu Rataruk Mimukya Yecha Pranampa Kaladadu Rakesharishta Mare Pakamsa Yavana Kapi Pondakradya Anye Chashava Kujabhava Ladantavakra Saptosha Shamba Ravidu Rataruk Mimukya Yecha Pranampa Kaladadu Likshesharishna Oh, Mataji. Okay, so I will just read the next shloka by myself. Yevarmite samiti sharina attachapa. Oh, I read myself, Maharaj. Sorry. Kamboja matya kuru shinjaya kaikayadya yashantya dasha na anambara pattabhima vyajavayena harina ilayam tadiyam. So now word by word, huh? Ye, all those, cha, totally, pralamba, the demon named Pralamba, Kara, Dhanukasura, Bakasura, Keshi, the Keshi demon, Arishta, the demon Aristasura, Mala, a wrestler in the court of Kamsa, Iba, Kualayapida, Kamsa, the king of Mathura and maternal uncle of Krishna. Yavana, the kings of Persia and other adjoining places. Kapi, Dividar, Pontraka, Atya, Pontraka and others. Anye, others. Cha, as much as. Shava, King Shava. Kuja, Narakasura. Bavala, King Bavala. Dantavakra, the brother of Shishupal, a dead rival of Krishna's. Saptosha, King Saptosha. Shambara, King Shambara. Vidurata, King Vidurata. Rukmimukya, the brother of Rukmini, the first queen of Krishna at Dwarka. Ye, all those, va, either, mrida, in the battlefield, samiti shaurina, all very powerful, ata chapaha, well equipped with bows and arrows. Cambodia, the king of Cambodia. Matsya, the king of Dwabanga. Kuru, the son of Dhritarashtra. Srinjaya, King Srinjaya. Kaikaya Adya, the king of Kaikaya and others. Yashanti, would attain. Adarshanam, impersonal merging with the Brahmajyoti. Alam, what to speak of? Bala, Balade, the older brother of Krishna. Pata, Arjun, Bhima, the second Pandava. Vyacha Avyayena, by the false names. Harina, by Lord Hari. Ninayam, the abode. Tadiyam, of him. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. Translation. All demoniac personalities like Pralamba, Dhanuka, Bhaka, Keshi, Arishta, Chanuna, Mukstika, Kuvalayapida elephant, Kamsa, Yavana, Narakasura, and Pondraka. Great marshals like Shauva, Dvivida monkey, and Bavala, Dantavakra, the seven bows, Shambara, Vidurata, and Rukmi, as also great warriors like Cambodia, Matsya, Kuru, Srinjaya, and Kekaya would all fight vigorously, either with the Lord Hari directly, or with him under his names of Balade, Arjun, Bhima, etc. All the demons thus being killed would attain either the impersonal Brahmajyoti or his personal abode in the Vaikuntha planets. Purport. All manifestations in both material and spiritual worlds are demonstrations of the different potencies of Lord Krishna. The personality of Godhead Baladev is his immediate personal expansion, and Bhima, Arjuna, etc. are his personal associates. The Lord would appear, and he does so whenever he appears with all his associates and potencies. Therefore, the rebellious souls, like the demons and demoniac men mentioned by names like Pralamba, would be killed either by the Lord himself or by his associates. All these affairs will be clearly explained in the 10th canto. But we should know well that all the above-mentioned living entities killed would attain salvation either by being merged in the Brahmajyoti of the Lord or being allowed to enter into the abode of the Lord called Vaikunthas. This has already been explained by Bhishma Dev, first canto. All persons would participate in the battlefield of Kurukshetra or otherwise with the Lord or with Baladev, etc., would benefit by attaining spiritual existence according to the situation of their minds at the time of death. Those who recognize the Lord would enter Vaikuntha, and those who estimated the Lord as only a powerful being would attain salvation by merging into the spiritual existence of the impersonal Brahmajyoti of the Lord. But every one of them would get released from material existence. Since such is the benefit of those who prayed with the Lord inimically, one can imagine what would be the position of those who devotedly serve the Lord in transcendental relationship with Him. Om Jnana Timinandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshu Umilitan Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Mano Bishtam Stapidan Yena Buddhare Swayan Rupa Kadama Hyan Tadati Swam Padantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamanam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha. Shri Rupam Sagrachatam Sahagana Nakunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Satvaitam Savatutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Chakapade Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastude Tapta Kamchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindava Nishwari Vishabhanu Sudhe Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakaupa Talubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishvanebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadatra Shri Vasade Gola Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Yecha Pranamba Kara Darura Keshi Arishta Maneba Kamsa Yavana Kapi Pontra Kadya Anicha Shawa Kuja Bhavala Danta Vakra Saptosha Shambhala Vidurata Lukmi Mukya Yeva Mite Samiti Sharina Ata Chapa Kamboja Matsya Kuru Srinjaya Kaikaya Dya Yashanti Adashana Alam Barapata Bhima Vyacha Vayena Harina Nilayam Tadiyam. Translation again. All demoniac personalities like Pralamba, Denuka, Bhaka Keshi, Arishta, Charuna, Mushtika, Kovala, Yapita, elephant, Kamsa, Yavana, Narakasura, and Pondraka, great marshals like Shauva, Divita monkey, and Bavala, Dantavakra, the seven bulls, Shambhala, Vidurata, and Lugni, as also great warriors like Kamboja, Matsya, Kuru, Srinjaya, and Kekaya, would all fight vigorously, either with the Lord Hari directly or with him under his names of Barade, Arjun, Bhima, etc. All the demons thus being killed would attain either the impersonal Brahmajyoti or his personal abode in Vaikuntha planets. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada, he said that all persons who would killed by the Lord, either by the Lord himself or by his associates. So all these persons, they would attain liberation by merging, either by merging into the Lord Brahmajyoti, the Brahmajyoti of the Lord, or enter into the abode of the Lord. Because according to the consciousness at the time of death, they will attain the certain destiny. Yeah. So that means the consciousness at the time of our death will determine our next birth. Yeah. See, in the fifth canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a very nice story of Bharat Maharaj. Yeah, we all know that Bharat Maharaj, he was a very powerful king. He was actually the emperor of the whole world. Yeah. And because of Bharat Maharaj's reign of the whole earthly planet, so the whole earthly planet is called Bharatvarsha. It's simply because Bharat Maharaj is, rule the earthly planet. So that's why this earthly planet is called Bharatvarsha. At the same time, Bharat Maharaj, he was a great devotee of Lord Krishna. Yeah. He performed various yagas to satisfy, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. And Bharat Maharaj, he increased his devotional activities to Lord Krishna too, with undisturbed mind. Yeah. And after finishing his kingly duty, Bharat Maharaj divided his kingdom among his sons. And then Bharat Maharaj, he left home and went to the place known as Purahashram. Purahashram. Yeah. And at the Purahashram, Bharat Maharaj would eat. He practiced very severe austerity by eating only forest vegetables and fruits. No cooked food like pakola, samosa, puris, curd sabji, halwa, nothing like this. But only, whatever he can get from the forest. Yeah. Only the vegetables and fruits. Yeah. Very severe austerity. And then, so that he could, completely devote his time in worshiping of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yeah. And then, Maharaj Bharat, his devotion to Krishna was so intense that sometimes there were visible in his body the Ashta Sattvika transformation. That means, spiritual ecstasies, like sometimes, ecstatic crying and bodily trembling, those transcendental ecstatic symptoms, you see, would appear in Bharat Maharaj's body, you see. But one day, after Bharat Maharaj had taken his bath as usual in the river Gandaki and was chanting his mantra, he saw a pregnant deer come to the river to drink water. Yeah. But while the deer was drinking the water, suddenly there was a thundering roar of a lion. And the deer, the mother deer was very frightened. And because of that, the mother deer immediately gave birth to his calf. Yeah, so untimely. Yeah. And then mother deer crossed the river, but soon she died, Yeah. Bharat took compassion, upon the mother's calf. So he rescued the calf from the water, and he took the calf to his ashram and cared for the calf very affectionately. Yeah. So in this way, Bharat became attached to this young deer and always thought of it affectionately. Yeah. So as the deer, grew up, so the deer became Maharaj Bharata's constant companion. Wherever Bharat Maharaj would go, this deer will accompany him. Yeah. And gradually, Bharat Maharaj became so absorbed in thinking of the deer. Yeah. As he became more attached to the deer. So as he became more attached to the deer, so his devotional service to Lord Krishna became slackened. Yeah. Until one day, he cannot find his deer. The deer disappeared. And Maharaj, Bharat, he searched in the forest everywhere, but he couldn't find it. But somehow, he, while searching the deer, he fell down to a ditch. And Maharaj, Bharat, he just passed away in that situation, thinking of his deer. So, and next birth, he has to take another birth as the deer. So if nowadays in America, I saw people nowadays all over the world, people always keep the pet dogs. So from here we can understand, if you are keeping pet dogs, so there's every chance that at the time of death you will think of your pet dogs, and you will probably take another birth as a dog in the next birth. So it's too dangerous, yeah. So in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna, he also confirmed this by saying that yang yang vapi smanam bhavam chachanti ante karevanam tam tam evaiti konteya sadata bhava bhavita. Krishna tells Arjuna that whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his body, O son of Kunti, that state he will attain without fail. So Krishna here confirmed that the consciousness at the time of death will determine our, next life. Actually, Srila Prabhu, he wrote a very beautiful purport to this verse. Yeah, Prabhu, he said, the process of changing one's nature at the critical moment of death is here explained. A person who, at the end of his life, quits his body thinking of Krishna, attains the transcendental nature of the Supreme Lord. But it is not true that the person who thinks of something other than Krishna attains the same transcendental state. This is a point we should note very carefully. How can one die in the proper state of mind? Maharaj Bharat, again, probably he was mentioning Bharat Maharaj here. Although a great personality thought of a deer at the end of his life, so in his next life, he was transferred into the body of a deer. Although as a deer, he remembered his past activities, but that is because, Bharat Maharaj was such a great devotee that even in the body of a deer, he can remember all his past activities. Yeah, a very special deer, He has to accept that animal body. Yeah. Of course, one's thoughts during the course of one's life accumulate to influence one's thoughts at the moment of death. So this life creates one's next life. If in one's present life one lives in the mode of goodness and always thinks of Krishna, it is possible for one to remember Krishna at the end of one's life. That will help one be transferred to the transcendental nature of Krishna. If one is transcendently absorbed in Krishna's service, then his next body will be transcendental, spiritual, not material. And the last, Srila Prabhu, he said, therefore, the chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, is the best process for successfully changing one's state of being at the end of one's life. Yeah. So I just stop here. Are there any questions and comments? Oh, yes, Prabhu. Microphone, please.
Thank you, Prabhu. It's a comment and a question.
Yes, please.
It appears that you are very compassionate because in the last class you were mentioning about Bharat Maharaj. And now the second one, this one too the same. So I was thinking maybe it gave me the impression that you have some message to give or something that you saw that is working, that is not working. So when I came here about 41 years ago, I never saw cats and I never saw dogs. But now it's very common. And not just here, but other places too. So that's my observation. So what about if somebody asks you and says that, they might be devotees, or they're devotees, so we're feeding them, we're making them devotees, and they deserve the mercy too. Mm-hmm. What would you say to that?
See, Srila Prabhupada, he said that his question is that if we devotees, some of the devotees will also have some cat or dog as his pet. But they think, what if we can make the cat and dog devotee? That's the main point, right? Because we can try to make the cat and dog devotees. They were thinking like that, Yeah.
The question is that sometimes some devotees feel they're also compassionate. Of course, yes. They have some genuine and some attachment.
Yes.
And they feel that they, we're going to make them devotees. Or they might be devotees in previous lives, so we don't want to neglect them. Right. So, but there's a risk. So then my question was that, what would you say to them?
Yeah. I would say, of course, Srila Prabhupada, he always saying that because we are spirit soul, we all have tendency to love someone and to be loved by someone. So if we cannot find a person to love, that's why we look after some cats and dogs to show our affection, you see. But the risk is that we might become too much attached to the cats and dogs. And if we have become too much attached to to our pet dogs, then there's every possibility that we are going to take birth as dog next life. Just like Bharat Maharaj. Bharat Maharaj is such a powerful devotee. He's always attained Prema Bhakti. Very high position, you see. But still, because he became too much attached to the deer, he has to take another birth as a deer in his next life. So I would advise whether we don't take the risk, Yeah, we have to be safe. Anybody else can add anything? Yes, Big Prabhu.
Maharaj, Bharat, his fault was not that he was compassionate to the deer, but that he was compassionate to the deer to the neglect of his sadhana. And he was on a very high level. He was already in bhava, so his sadhana included constant meditation on Krishna. So, if somebody's able to simultaneously be compassionate to lower living entities, but not neglect their sadhana, that's kind of acceptable to a certain extent. I mean, if you live on a farm, for instance, you can have all sorts of animals there. You don't just neglect them. You're going to feed the animals and this and that. There'll be dogs and this, but not to the neglect of your sadhana. And sadhana includes thinking of Krishna and never forgetting him like that. So I think you got to be able to balance it like that. Just a thought.
Yes, Devaratabu.
Well, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, we see Shivananda saying he was attached to the dog, but from what I've understood, he was in the association of devotees, so that attachment didn't carry him away. Maharaj Bharat wasn't in the association of devotees. So even though he was acting foolish, he had misplaced compassion, and he was inattentive to his sadhana, if he's in the association of devotees, the devotees could have pointed out, I think you're getting a little bit carried away here. But Shivananda saying he was in the association of devotees, so he didn't get carried away in that attachment.
You reminds me that even a dog went back to Godhead by taking the Mahaprasadam from Lord Chaitanya's hands. Yeah, Lord Chaitanya is really very powerful. He feed the dog with some prasadam, and the dog go back to Godhead. Yes, Maharaj. No, I'm done. Please, Maharaj.
First, there was one point that you had made, and that was he just fell down and he died. It didn't go just that way, but almost that way. He fell down. He was looking for the deer, and he was very eager to find the deer, but it seems that the deer was also eager to find him, because he did find him. And so as the Bharat Maharaj was dying, the deer looked directly in his face, and as he was looking at him, Bharat was also looking back at him. And because he was very intense about his desire to find him, and now he had found him, but he was dying, he died with the impression right in front of him of the deer. And so it was almost inescapable to not become a deer, with all that affection and all that love and all that attachment that he had.
Right.
There was something else I wanted to mention about attachment, and that is, well, that's all.
Thank you so much. That's a very good point, Maharaj. Thank you. So we will just stop here. Thank you very much for coming. Gantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaura Bhaktavinda ki jai. Haribo, haribo.